Hey guys, it's Osby from Rough Country, and today we're going to check out the installation process of our 7.5-inch kit for our 07 to 13 4-wheel drive GM 1500 model pickup trucks. To begin the installation, remove all 4 wheels and tires. Loosen and remove the ABS wire from the upper control arm. And then unplug the ABS wire from the plastic clip. Remove the brake line brackets from the knuckle. Loosen and remove the tie rod end from the knuckle. Loosen and remove the brake caliper assembly from the knuckle and hang securely out of the way. Then remove the rotor from the knuckle assembly. Carefully remove the end cap. Remove the axle nut and retain the hardware for reuse later. Loosen the upper and lower ball joint nuts. Strike the knuckle to dislodge the ball joints, and carefully remove the knuckle from the vehicle. Loosen and remove the swaybar end links. Loosen and remove the lower strut bolts. Loosen the upper strut nuts and carefully remove the strut from the vehicle. Loosen and remove the 6 axle shaft bolts from the differential and remove the axle shaft. Loosen the lower control arm bolts, and then carefully remove the lower control arm from the vehicle. Loosen the swaybar bolts and remove the swaybar from the vehicle. Loosen and remove the factory skid plate from the vehicle. Loosen and remove the rear crossmember from the vehicle. Then unplug the electrical connector on the differential. Loosen and remove the drive shaft from the differential. Remove the 4 differential bolts and carefully remove the differential from the vehicle. On the driver's side rear lower control arm pocket, measure over 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the hole on the rear frame where the cross member was removed, and mark the area to be cut as shown. Carefully cut the area to make room for the differential. Sand the area with a disc sander. Trim the lower control arm mount on the frame as shown. Trim only enough to allow for the installation of the new Rough Country crossmember. Then clean up the area with a disc sander. Install both the driver and passenger side differential drop brackets. Carefully raise and install the differential on the differential drop brackets. Then plug in the electrical connector on the differential. Reinstall the drive shaft into the differential. Install the new front crossmember into the front lower control arm mounts. Then install the new rear crossmember. Reinstall the lower control arms and then tighten the crossmembers. Install the new Rough Country skid plate onto the crossmember mounts. Install both swaybar drop brackets. Using the guide provided, drill the new swaybar end links hole in both lower control arms. Reinstall the swaybar onto the swaybar drop brackets. Install the swaybar end links into the newly drilled hole in the lower control arms. Install the new CV axle spacer along with the CV axle into the differential. Then install the studs on top of the strut spacers. Install the strut spacers on top of each strut and then carefully reinstall the strut onto the vehicle. Tighten the upper and lower strut bolts. Then tighten the swaybar end links. Remove the tie rod end from the tie rod. Measure over 3/8 of an inch and mark. Cut the tie rod and tie rod sleeves as shown. This will allow the vehicle to be realigned. Smooth out any rough edges with a disc sander. Reassemble and reinstall the tie rod ends. Remove the factory knuckle from the knuckle assembly. Install the new knuckle onto the knuckle assembly. Reinstall the knuckle assembly onto the upper and lower ball joint. Tighten the upper and lower ball joint. Reinstall and tighten the axle nut. Then install the end cap. Install the rotor onto the knuckle assembly and tighten. Then reattach and plug in the ABS wire. Using a zip tie, secure the ABS wire to the knuckle. Remove the brake line bracket from the upper control arm mount as shown. Then install the supplied brake line relocation bracket on the upper control arm mount with stock hardware. Slightly pull down on the brake line assembly and reinstall the drop bracket with the supplied nuts and washers. Reinstall the brake caliper and tighten. Install the tie rod end and then tighten. Remove the e-brake cable from the mount as shown. Then reattach the e-brake mount to the frame. Loosen and remove the brake line bracket on the frame, and then install the new brake line bracket in the stock location. Loosen and remove the stock shocks from the upper and lower shock mounts. Then remove the stock U-bolts and U-bolt plate. Using a floor jack, lower the axle and replace the stock block with the new Rough Country rear block. Then install the new U-bolts and U-bolt plate and tighten. Finally, install the new Rough Country shocks in the upper and lower shock mounts.